so many coaches.
Okay, you kind of flipped it open there. Okay. So try to focus on keeping that shoulder through, hands, and then you open as you're getting here. Okay. I mean,
Pounding into us.
yeah. I like to say I'm pretty old school. Like, you know, all these new toys and gadgets, I'm getting them to honestly to appease some of these because I've got these guys charging $75 at just a ridiculous amount of money an hour to have this, and these parents are going like driving 45 minutes to go to them because they have it. And I'm just like, okay, but I mean, what are their results? I mean, like one kid's part of this Midwest Nationals, and they've got a really good high school program just because they have all these colleges at their fingertips that they've built over being there. And the biggest thing is in their youth system. They're like, for instance, there was this kid for this Cal Ripken team that tried out and made it, and he's throwing at 12 years old from the left side. He's throwing 70, 72. He is wildly inaccurate. He averaged one hit batter and hitting. And I fixed him in 5 minutes. Literally got him more balanced in 5 minutes. And then he finished out his travel ball season and he didn't hit a single batter like the final 15 innings. And then with us, he pitched 12 innings and not a single walk. And his K per inning was 2 1/3. Nice, that's what we want. 2 1/3 per inning, and they were just like, "What do you do?" Well, I just took 5 minutes and I did my job and I fixed it. I mean, they just milk the lessons. And, I mean, I just had 2 kids I released. So it's like, hey, you're to the point to where you're good for 14 when you hit your growth spurt and we're struggling. Give me a call, and then you know.
Well, it's like there's been people we've met, and like the dude we met in Nebraska, the dude, that shit, he was nuts. He cussed the kids out. He's like, hitting off the tee, this big dummy is hitting the tits, man. You know, and I'm just like, what the hell is this guy doing? But he gave them a few things.
Yeah.
That were, you know, that
Yeah,
could
he
use.
was crazy. Like, there was one he's like, I'm gonna crank the machine up to about 85 here, and we were hitting on like 70 before that, just trying to get warmed up. So I was behind on it, and he goes, "What the?" And I was like, "Jeez." He's like, "That's bull." I was like, "Oh."
Well, we played a coach from Kentucky that was doing that for 12-year-olds.
Well, he asked me at the beginning, he said, "Well, you meet your kids?" And it was him and one of his buddies. I said, "Well, only one of them's my kid." I said, "But," I said, "they're becoming young men, they should be able to handle it." And I was kind of shocked at first, and then after that initial shock therapy, man, it was like, he's kind of settled down and was like, "All right, hey, here's some of this stuff." And, you know, he was all launch angle, Barry Bonds stuff.
Yeah.
One leg swinging. But he still checks on him all the time. But hey, how's it doing? They ended up being a good guy.
Alright, don't think launching over here. We're still trying to get left. Alright, but don't want to drop. Okay.
But what I try to tell him is that you can come in like he doesn't know you, you don't know him, but you're looking at him and it's about being coachable.
Yep. I love it. I mean,
You know what I mean?
just,
Like you can give him stuff and then, yeah, it's gonna take those 3 or 5 swings to figure the fix, but that's part of, for me, that's part of the journey.
yep. It's just, well, it's just, sometimes it's as simple as, you know, fixing the rack. I mean, try something. Okay? Instead of pulling back here, try to go open up a little bit, just go from here to here. Just try it. Okay? From here to here. Okay? Biggest thing with going to different people and all that, use that as, have you ever gone out into your parents' garage and you see, does your dad have a bunch of tools?
Yeah.
How many tools out there have you only seen him use once or twice? Probably a ton. I mean, look at this shot. There's things in here that get used like once a year. Okay? Imagine all of this, all these things you learn from these different guys as all these tools that you know how to do it, you know how to use them, you've been trained on them, and you just got to kind of pick the job where it needs it. If you got a kid blowing it inside and you just can't catch up, there's a kid mid-90s, and then you take this approach or you shorten that stride and you know you can do it, you know what it feels like. You got a kid that's a little bit slower, he likes to drop it in the ground, that's where lunge angle's pretty good. You get enough that the sucks and it's on him at the shin, or you're going to have to go down and get it or strike out and look it. I mean, that's the best way to approach it, because, you know, what I do with the younger kids, you know, the vast majority of my 9 to 13 is, you know, they try to pick from here and they try to pick from here and they're doing 10 different things and they don't realize this one will do. Just pick the voice that you like, listen to that voice. But you have these different tools. You're old enough now to where your body, you know how your body's responding and what you're doing. And so you can pick and choose.
That's what
I like it for a high school kid. Not a fan of it for younger kids, because I'll get a kid that, you know, he had a hitting coach that said did this, another one did this, and another one did this. Okay, all right, let's start here and let's see what works for him. Okay, this is where we're gonna go. Let's build off.
That's like we talked on the way over. I like take stuff from each one, and then just try to work something from it. Or not like locations. Take something from each one. Try to learn something new from each one that I can use.
Yeah. Because here's the reality. How many different batting stances are there? I don't know if you're old enough to remember Craig Counsell. Your dad does. He was like this. Okay. Kevin Euclid, he rapped. He's doing the exact opposite. I mean, Darryl Strawberry, big leg kick. Ty Cobb, one of the greatest hitters of all time. Do you know what his grip was? All right. Those guys all came up with it because over time they advanced and adjusted to it. But there is always one thing that is constant. All right. Two things in baseball. Pitching is the point of separation when you land and creating the power. Hitting is the point of contact where your hands need to be and where your weight needs to be when you hit the ball. Everything else is open for discussion. All right, whether this is better, that is better. I've got a good video on launch angle and you know where to use it, where not, that I'll send you. Love it. But my biggest thing to tell you, you got a pretty swing. There's little tweaks and adjustments. I mean, you can probably squeeze a couple more miles an hour out of your exit velocity. But the weight room is where it's going to be from here until you graduate. And if your goal is to go play college ball, work your hips a lot, because they'll start doing it there, because a lot of your power comes from your hips. Being able to separate them, get them through. Hip flexibility is good. Nice. What do you think of that stance?
It's different. I mean, but it's just something new, so you gotta get used to it.
plus together. They only got. There's been plenty of kids he played with the last. I mean, play travel. They.
Yeah.
Plenty of kids that do batting lessons, pitching lessons.
There you go.
We never. He wanted to do pitching lessons, and I'm like, dude, you're a small dude. They'll never pitch you. Go catch the kid and learn that. So that's what he did. He would catch a few of them, and then they would share things, and then he'd do what he could with it, throw, and when he got opportunities, he didn't walk kids and kind of let them pitch you.
Yeah, speaking of pitching, you did have a couple of videos of him pitching. I'll say this, I don't know how much you pitch, but what I do when I watch kids pitch, especially from right behind the catcher, is I'll put a post-it note on the catcher so I can see where they're setting up and to see if I can predict where the kid's throwing based on his mechanics. When you, and out of 10 pitches, I called where you were throwing 9 out of 10. Okay? So when you pitch inside, you slide over to the side, to the inside. You slide to where you're pitching sometimes, and then before your foot hits, I know where you're throwing because you do a big step out to throw outside, and you close more when you're throwing inside. When you pitch, it'll be hill to hill, and you lane on the line every time. You let your hips and your arm dictate where that release angle is, or that release point is. Okay. Some of the best pitchers in the majors, Gary Cole, Justin Verlander, they look the same from the waist down every time, and they're just contorting everything up here. Okay. I like being over the top, less pressure over everything, but you can get more over the top and release over here. You just gotta tilt your body and get your arm where you want it to be.